There we go. We are back. We're back. This is the Team Phillip G and Shadow Podcast Show. That's right. The Team Phillip G and Shadow Podcast Show. And this is show number 8. Show number 8. And I want to welcome you back as well as Shadow. Go ahead, Shadow. Welcome to our fans.
Oh, how you doing?
There you go. Hello, how you doing? We're back. That's right. This is show number 8. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to review the Star Wars prequels. That's right. The Star Wars prequels. We spent an entire day going over the Star Wars prequels. I'm showing it right now. That is Phantom Menace number 1. Phantom Menace number 1, as well as Attack of the Clones. That's right, it's right here, Attack of the Clones, and then finally Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the
bad
Sith.
Movies.
Shadow's already revved up. He's revved up, and yes, we saw the entire prequels back to back to back, and we just want to give you our review after so many years. Why not just go back and look at how it all started with the Star Wars genre? And well, you know what I mean. How it was set up by Mr. George Lucas. And I'm going to give the first comments. Obviously, Shadow's already made his comments. So, what did you think about just holding a marathon for the Star Wars prequel, Shadow?
First one sucked. It was boring.
Hold it. You say Phantom Menace number 1 was not that great? Why?
Okay.
Come on.
There's so many reasons.
I know there's so much. Just give us a bullet point of why you kind of didn't feel like Phantom Menace kind of sucked.
The racial stereotypes, the bland, boring characters, Liam Neeson, Natalie Portman, they're good actors, but they're just terrible since George Lucas directed them as such.
Okay, stop right there. That's the first highlight. What about Attack of the Clones, Shadow?
I don't like sand.
Give us a reference point. Why? What was that phrase from?
They can see it for themselves. I don't want to spoil that.
Okay, there's a line where who was it? It was very romantic. It was very romantic between.
Romantic.
Well, they was trying to set it up with who was it?
Whiny McBrat and Try Hard.
Yeah,
Mickey.
yeah. And apparently Anakin did not like the romance, and he just said, "I don't like sand." So that was that's kind of a teaser for you to watch Attack of the Clones. It's the dialogue. I think Shadow was probably saying the dialogue was pretty cheesy.
No, the dialogue was awful.
The dialogue was awful. And then quickly, the Revenge of the Sith.
This is by far the worst one.
The worst? Whoa, man.
I mean, Jesus. The lightsaber fights get so boring after you see, like, the third one. If General Grievous, like, this PS2 effect, this PS1 graphical effect, starts swinging his lightsabers.
And wasn't Yoda twirling around himself in number 3?
And in number 2.
Yes, right. Number 2 and number 3. And what did you think about Yoda doing all his gyrations and jumping around and going against the bad man?
What do you mean, Count Dooku?
Count Dooku, yeah.
And Darth Sidious.
And Darth Sidious.
It was terrible. It looked so fake. It made me cringe on the inside.
Okay, we got your key points. Now, with 1, 2, and 3, those were some quick analysis. But how did you think how the prequels actually set up 4, 5, and 6? What was it? A great storyline? Now we're going to go back into the storyline.
You know, 1, 2, and 3 didn't have a great story. They're so lame. They're so mundane. They're such a disappointment.
What did you think about the political slant? Because now that we had time to go back to how they set up, it was to me, from T. Phillip G's point of view, it was very politically oriented, quite frankly.
Okay, episode 4 opens up on a space battle. Episode 5 opens up on the whole Battle of Hoth. Episode 6 opens up on like the rescue on Tatooine. Episode 1 opens up on a trade deal. Like it's boring.
It opens up on a trade deal.
Like, why do we want to see this? It's supposed to be about Star Wars, not Liam Neeson and Ian McGregor trying to negotiate politics to some racist Asian stereotypes.
Yeah, and Anakin, the little kid, his acting was Jake Lloyd. And you could tell he was really struggling trying to, to get his lines through. And of course, he had the pod racer, and that kind of made it fun. In number 1, and then he got into racing the jets during the battle and everything.
Naboo Starfighter.
Yeah, the Naboo. What is it?
Naboo Starfighter.
There you go. Thank you. And it was kind of hokey.
Okay.
And then they have. Did we have? Was it introduction of? Was it? Who's that one character?
The worst character.
The worst character of all time.
I think.
Just say his name and get it over with.
Jar
Binks. There you go. That's probably the worst character of all time, and the dialect, the worst character of all time.
Racist stereotype. Yeah.
And there you go. That just ruined it for us. Yes, go ahead, Shadow.
The pod racing scene. Many people point this out to be a good scene.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's something happening in the movie.
That's true.
It's the only thing that happens in the movie that's somewhat entertaining.
Well, yeah, and it just kind of set you up that Anakin was instrumental and loved racing, and then it went to the next one where he was skilled at racing starfighters and so forth. Again, a little bit of that, and then number 2. Now we're going back. If you recall, number 2. All of a sudden, Anakin was a big man.
10 years later.
10 years later.
10 years later, Anakin's like a teenager. Padme still looks exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
I mean, it's strange in episode 1 that Anakin was a 5-year-old going on with a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Now it's just like this 15-year-old, and Padme like never aged at all.
She never aged, and Natalie Portman fell in love with Anakin, and lo and behold, it was kind of wild. And then I didn't understand where it was going to go. I don't even think George Lucas understood where it was going to go.
George Lucas doesn't understand how.
And then the big fight scenes of all the Jedi's attacking the clones coming out of everywhere.
To be honest, once like after I Don't Like Sand came, I pretty much fell asleep through 2 and 3.
Yeah, that was true. I fell asleep during 1. Shadow fell asleep during 2 and 3.
I mean, I've watched these movies like 800 times, but seeing a marathon of them again, I just couldn't stand it.
I know. It was very hard on both of us, and somehow we managed to see them all. But 2 was all this battle scene. Didn't understand. They were still trying to do all this political stuff and have a romance in between.
Very forced and unnecessary.
Yeah, forced and romance, and then. Number 3, I forgot about Wedge combo. That doesn't mean. And then number 3, when he tried to wrap everything out, talking about you said one of the best characters was the bad guy in number 1. What was the?
I wouldn't say he's the best character.
He had more of a What's his name?
Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul. That's one.
He actually had a potential to be cool. He actually had potential to be this very unique villain, but instead George Lucas just ruins that. He barely gives him any screen time.
True,
and we get no character from him. He's just some typical I'm the bad guy, guys. Yeah. Look at my cool lightsaber. Now sell me toys.
Yeah, yeah. You can see the plot and the marketing with George Lucas. All 3 movies, and then we're going to number 3, and of course, Ewan McGregor, he did a great job. I got to give him credit.
Ian McGregor was the one defining
He solidified his role as a continual outstanding actor. Endured the bad plot and everything.
Ian McGregor is the only upside. To these terrible movies.
Yeah, and then at the very very end, tell him about how Darth Vader was actually born or got his look.
You said it, not me. I mean, he's.
I think you woke up about that time.
Yeah, I did. He was like, no. He's like Frankenstein
Yeah.
or something.
I was on the floor, man. When you see how he finally got his mask and how he got his helmet and all that, and the look, and he just came out like a old classic Frankenstein movie. I said, no way, no way, and I kind of knew where he was going to go with this. I said, no way he's going to do this, and lo and behold, he did it.
I mean, the thing is, let's tell why episode 3 is the worst.
Yeah, tell it. Go ahead.
It's okay with episode 1. The lightsaber fights seem grounded. In episode 2, it's not really bad, and episode 2 is horrible, but episode 2 is at least forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
But when episode 3 is brought up, it's a certain type of bad that you just can't beat. The lightsaber fights get old real fast.
That's true.
Everyone, it feels like they're doing the exact same thing. It's just like, oh, look at him, he can shoot lightning. Oh, look at him, he can force push. Oh, look at him, he can do like 50 jumps and like choreographed like these very weird and unnatural moves.
Yeah, and then how they got rid of Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, Samuel L. Jackson was a terrible. Mace Windu, sell toys.
Yeah.
General Grievous just. General Grievous had, like Darth Maul had, he had the potential to be good.
Yeah, yeah.
And how, like, the Clone Wars micro series was General Grievous being, like, able to take on all these Jedi Masters at once. But how we see him in the movie is so poorly done.
Yeah, it was.
He's pretty much this walking PS1 effect. And it's like, look at me, I have 4 lightsabers, give me toys.
Yeah.
And it's so bad and boring.
I think they want to try to stay away from any controversy, so that's the reason they brought in General Grievous.
And another problem with the movie is that whole Anakin and Obi-Wan fight really solidifies this to be the worst.
Yeah.
Because Anakin just sounding like a whiny little brat. As Ian McGregor is just like, you're supposed to bring balance to the Force, Anakin.
Now, who was the actor for Anakin as he got older? I forgot. Yeah, he just whined all the way through.
The thing is, people say, oh, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader to fight on the Death Star. That's boring. No, it's not. It actually has meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about how many force pushes they can do in a single second, or how many times they can twirl their lightsaber.
That's a good point.
In episode 3, that with Anakin and Obi-Wan on the lava planet, it got boring after like 5 minutes. It's like a huge, long, unnecessary fight. You cut like half of it down.
Yeah.
Then we just get the same feeling. I don't feel anything from these characters. It felt like Anakin just like, I'm a good guy. Then Palpatine came along like, you're bad now.
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, and he completely turned bad.
And
one of the things he wanted to turn bad, he wanted to try to save Natalie Portman at the end. He said, I'll do anything. And it was ridiculous. He just turned completely bad.
Like, okay, Anakin, what? This like turn to the dark side is so quick.
Yeah.
You have like really no reason to turn to the dark side. And the thing is, the fight on the lava planet is so boring. I don't understand Anakin's motives for turning to the dark side. I don't feel Obi-Wan's betrayal. Which that should be the feeling that you should feel the most.
That's
but
true.
I don't feel any of that. It just feels like Ian McGregor's trying his best to bring this 2D flat character to screen. And the fight on the Death Star with Anakin and Obi-Wan had so much more meaning to it. When Obi-Wan sacrificed himself to like let Luke complete his destiny.
That's true.
That had so much more meaning than how many times you can twirl a little lightsaber.
No, a very good point. Now that was deep. Thank you, Shell.
And that's the thing with the prequels.
Yeah.
It's only like General Grievous, lightsabers, whoa! I think George Lucas has no understanding on how the original trilogy worked. It's moments like, Luke, I am your father. Not moments like General Grievous like busting out like 4 lightsabers, like, oh, look at me. Yeah. In the new special edition, General Grievous is going to be 1 40-foot lightsaber. Yeah. Quote from George Lucas himself.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you can see that, the 1, 2, and 3, the third one just went straight down. And as Shadow says, it's a certain type of bad movie.
You try to forget it.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it was truly unforgettable, and you want to forget it. But I was just laughing at the way Darth Vader came to be. And the final, what was it? The final 2 minutes of the movie.
There's only one good scene. There's only one good scene in this movie. And that is when, at the very, very, very end, with Vader just standing there and Palpatine right beside him as they look upon the Death Star being constructed. Yeah. That's the only good scene because it remembers us of the good movies.
Yeah, and that leads to number 4 where you see number 4. That's where it picked up. And that very, very final scene, a few seconds, that was probably the best of number 3.
That's the sad thing, too. And, remember Jango Fett, right?
Jango, yes, before Boba Fett.
Dear God, they ruined Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett, he's cool and all, right? Let me just market this in.
Yeah, that's true.
Just call him Boba Fett 2.0.
Yeah, it was.
And the sad thing is that Boba Fett child self is so lame. It is like, get him, Dad, get him.
And Boba Fett actually learned to be bad after he saw his dad, Jango, killed and so forth. It was comical. So let's wrap up the Star Wars prequel. Number one. Do you give it a passing grade, Shadow?
Give it like a negative 10.
Negative 10 on Phantom Menace. Okay, number 2, Attack of the Clones. What do you give it, Shadow?
So boring and just terrible in every single conceivable way possible.
There you go. And number 3, the Revenge of the Sith. What do you give it, Shadow?
George Lucas tried to put as many lightsaber fights that he can in this, but they're obviously all bland and lacking any sort of meaning or character to them. And so it really makes me angry, given the fact that George Lucas does not understand what makes a lightsaber fight good. It's when you see Darth Vader like, you have a sister. Well, maybe if you don't turn to the dark side, I'll make her turn to the dark side. And you saw like Luke get like so emotionally disturbed by that. And you see him go after Vader. That has so much emotion to it, and I love that scene. But when you see like Anakin just being like, I hate you, I'm like crying on the lava, and Obi-Wan's like, you're the chosen one, Anakin. Like, what's going on? Anakin sounds like this very whiny brat. We never got any character from Anakin. We never got any character from Obi-Wan. And all the lightsaber fights through and throughout the movie is lame. Even the Yoda and Palpatine lightsaber fight manages to be so boring and mind-bogglingly stupid. Everyone has like a lightsaber. They all make bad decisions, and they all are pretty much the same character.
There you go. That's the review. Okay, Mal. We endured it. We survived it, and now you know our thoughts. This is Team Phillip G and Shadow podcast show. That's our wrap up. In essence, we say, do not go back and do a marathon. Do not go see the movie. Don't worry about it. Move on to the next Star Wars. And matter of fact, what's coming out in December with regards to Star Wars?
Rogue One.
There you go, Rogue One. We're moving forward, but we had to endure it. We got it out of our system. Shadow got it out of the system. And any lasting words, Shadow, for our audience?
Episode 3 is dark, guys. It's so dark and it's so good. Like, seriously, Episode 5 was an actual, more darker Star Wars movie. And it manages to be, fantastic.
Okay.
It captures the image of Star Wars.
There you go. There you go. That's the last comments and review of the Star Wars prequels from T. Phillip G and Shadow. This is show number 9. Show number 9. We hope to see you again. Take care, everyone. See ya.
Death sticks. I want some death sticks.
Ease up, Shadow. It can't help. It's not that bad. Well, yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
We're done. We're out.